Welcome to the Peanut Gallery podcast. With me is Jared. And, what do you have to say about that?
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Peanut Gallery podcast, episode 35. What's going on, man? How's it going? How's your week been?
It's been good.
Yeah?
It's super busy, dude. Like, not at all, actually. I don't have a job.
You're looking, though.
I am looking.
For those of you who don't know, which is probably all of you, you recently moved up here and you're looking for a job.
Moved to Georgia.
Yeah, but you think you might have found something, maybe.
Yeah. But also, but people here are so nice.
It's
Like,
different.
we went and got a table for free.
For free, there you go. That's that
For
much.
free.
But yeah.
But, like, just going and picking it up, totally, I wasn't, like, down where I used to live. I'd been, like, sketching out, like, to go over. I'm like, am I going to get mugged? Are they going to steal my car? But
Here
here,
it's
I'm
like, come on in. Do you want something to eat?
We had dinner
have
with
some
him, bro. I
snacks?
think he gave me, like, an inheritance or something.
You're now in his will.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's pretty
But it's
great.
dope. How's your week?
It's good.
It's good.
Busy. Work, school.
Work. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready for freaking my final semester to be done, man. Done with college.
I've been done with school so long, I don't even remember
so
what
long,
that means.
like a full month or so.
It's been like 2 months.
No, but then when I'm done, I can be like, go get a job and stuff. And then I won't be like poor anymore all the time.
I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah, you do. You know exactly what
Just
that
poor
feels
all
like.
the time. No, I don't know what it would be like to not be poor.
To not be poor all the time.
Yep.
White privilege.
White privilege.
This is the Peanut Gallery podcast. This is the place that we provide our completely unprofessional and insignificant opinions about the most important and significant topics of the day. I'm your host, Jared, and with me as always is Seth, and we're going to jump right into what was nuts this week. All right, guys, we are back in the What Was Nuts this week, and we're going to kick things off with a little bit of good news, kind of an update on the Charlie Gard story. If you don't know who Charlie Gard is, he's a terminally ill 11-month-old baby over in the UK. It's kind of become an international story now because the courts in the UK ruled that Charlie Gard's parents didn't have the right to kind of explore some experimental treatment in the U.S. to care for Charlie Gard. There was a court ruling that said that it would be better if he just had died with dignity instead of to try and go do these experimental treatments.
Right, like it would be inhumane to like have to move him, have him go through that, and there wasn't enough chance of possibility or whatever. And the parents, obviously, I mean, like, you can hear our whole thoughts on it back in what did we talk about?
I think we did it maybe 2 podcasts
Yeah, I'll
ago
link
or
it
something like that.
up at the top. You can hit the little I, and you can go and hear our full comments on it. But essentially, parents raised enough money to take him. They wanted to take him. The court said no. You're not allowed to take him out of the hospital.
Total bullcrap. Yeah, they raised it. Went up now, $1.8 million. But anyways, the good news is that a British High Court just recently ruled that a U.S. professor of neurology from Columbia University Center in New York is going to be allowed to come over to London and discuss with Charlie Gard's parents about possible treatment that they could do, experimental treatment that could be done to save the child. So that's a step in the right direction. It's still crazy that they can't just up and bring him over to the U.S., but it's a move in the right direction, and it's important because this story really is, I do think it is important, just kind of the principle of it, I mean, of having government involved with
totally agree.
lives in that way.
It still blows my mind that this is an issue.
I know.
That the government is telling, whatever.
We could talk about that the entire section.
We could make it a whole other show dedicated to it.
Speaking of government intervention, though, we have Amazon is, they're trying to merge with Whole Foods.
So they bought Whole Foods.
They bought them already?
Or it's going through.
I think it's going
Rumors are it's going through. It already went through or something. But anyway, with this purchase of Whole Foods, there's kind of been there's a Bloomberg article about growing concerns that there might be like an antitrust violation or something with them buying this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, if you look at from the article I was reading, like Whole Foods makes a very small part of the grocery market, so. Mm-hmm. Like, the antitrust would be that if Amazon's so big in one area and they bought this, they'd immediately have a monopoly in that area as well, and that's too much for one company. Yeah. Essentially, is what I kind of gathered.
Yeah, that would be.
And so with the buyout or whatever, the merger, they're not really gaining that much in the grocery market. They are, however, gaining a foothold in the grocery market, and we've already seen them with their their Amazon Go store.
Yeah,
in Seattle that we talked about a while ago. Yeah, where they had a grocery store that they were testing in Seattle, and so this is, I mean, it's way easier to start with an infrastructure already there. I mean, like distribution, everything Whole Foods already has, so that could be really good. And I don't know if they're going to rebrand it. They might just keep it as Whole Foods and just start taking the money. I don't know what the plan is.
I have no problem with that at all, man. And I buy stuff from Amazon all the time. They sell me great things at low prices. It's good for consumers.
Brought to you by Amazon.
I definitely don't think it's really a monopoly in that case. I think they're buying it for like $13 million, I saw. So that's
nothing.
That's not even that big of a buyout. I mean, you have companies like AT&T trying to buy, Time Warner right now for billions and billions of dollars.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
AT&T's buying Time Warner?
Yes.
There's something big going on, but I think that's probably on your block.
It might be because they tried to merge with, I think, T-Mobile a few years ago, and that got blocked by the FCC too.
Yeah.
But,
it'd be interesting to dive into like a topic about should that be a government's job or whatever. I don't know.
To dive in there and
stop those but what's crazy, man, on the article I was reading, the amount of purchasing power Amazon has is insane. In 2016, $1 in $20 that a citizen spent went to Amazon. So every $20 people spent, in total, one went to Amazon. And that's in total. Then for online shopping, for every $3 someone spent, one of those dollars was going to Amazon.
That's 33% of consumers' purchases online.
No, 33% of the money transactions going on in America in 2016 was Amazon on the internet.
That's insane.
And it's 20%, or not 20%, but what would it be? 5%?
Yeah, 5%.
Was in total.
Wow, that's remarkable.
Absolutely insane. Right?
I believe it though, dude.
I love Amazon.
Awesome.
Amazon's great. I love them. Send me free stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so crazy. I just they just had their Prime Day a couple what was it last week? I think the 11th.
Yeah.
And they have these little buttons called dash buttons.
Yeah, these are cool.
They're the dumbest thing ever. It's a button that literally makes it so you just press the button and it auto buys and ships that product to you.
Yeah.
And it's literally you're buying a product to buy stuff. Like the only purpose is to spend more money. And I freaking bought a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But it was they were on sale for 99 cents, and then you get a $5 credit the first time you use it. So I'll make money back the first time I use it, but I have to use it.
Dude, but it's awesome for like stuff because when I first thought of it, I was like, that's kind of dumb. But then when you think about like stuff like toilet paper,
that's
towels,
what we got
toothpaste,
it for. You just hang them in the cabinet.
You run out, just press a button. 2 days later, it's at their doorstep.
The less I have to leave my house and interact with people, bro, I am on board. If they make a dash, but they can if you could compile a grocery list and then hit the dash button and then you just get groceries to your house.
First world problems to the max.
Dude, I love Amazon.
No, it's nice. It's a good thing. Innovation.
Yes.
All right, guys. So then another story that's been going on this week, it's been trending quite a bit, is the net neutrality. So this is kind of a bigger topic. It's a fairly complex topic, but why don't you kind of run through a little bit about what's going on now?
So if you were on the internet, what was it? When was the 12th?
July 12th.
Today's the 16th.
Thursday or Friday?
Hold on. So anyway, July 12th was what was called the Day of Action for opposing possible net neutrality changes. So right now, the internet and services provided by ISPs, internet service providers like the internet, it's under the Title II title it's classified as a utility.
Yeah.
So what that means, it's the same as water and electricity. It's in that you can't be charged for what you do on the internet. You can only be charged for how much internet you use, right? So that was a classification that Obama put into place back in 2010, I think. 10, I think. I mean, when we were looking into it.
Yeah, no, there were
the rules were in place.
I think it was officially passed in 2015.
Well, so they had rules trying to kind of govern net neutrality, but they were just kind of legislation on top blocking that from happening.
Yeah.
And then Obama just reclassified it as a Title II, making a utility, so then all those laws they had are no longer you needed extra legislation on top. It was just innate in the name and the classification.
Makes sense.
So now with the new FCC chairman, his name's weird, I don't know, appointed by Trump, he wants to repeal this classification of Title II. And what he's calling, I think it was the Re-Securing Internet Freedoms Act or something.
Yeah.
Which is just the most disingenuous name ever. But essentially what he's trying to do is repeal the title change, right?
Well, he doesn't want it to be a utility anymore.
Right. He wants to repeal what Obama did.
Yeah.
Obama made it Title II. He wants to change it back to whatever it was before, maybe Title I, I don't know. But essentially, I'm personally against it because what it does is it allows the internet to be chopped up however the internet service providers want. So it would allow them to create fast lanes. It could, so what that would mean would be the internet service providers could go to Netflix or YouTube and say, hey, listen, pay us like $20 million more or whatever a year, and we'll give you a little bit more bandwidth and let people that go to your sites let it load faster. And then the people that don't pay, their sites get slowed down. Similar kind of to like television, where you're also like television where like channels are chopped up so many ways. Like you get the basic package, you get the advanced package, you end up paying for 1 million channels to watch 10 things. That could also happen. You could have packages of the internet where if you access the basic internet, you can go to Google and YouTube. Or you want the streaming package, you also get Netflix, Amazon Prime Video. Oh, you want the deluxe package. Okay, here's the Facebook package. You're allowed to go to Facebook now. And so people like me, people like Amazon signed on, a ton of companies, Google, ton of Facebook, sites, dude. Yeah, all signed on for this day of action to kind of spread awareness for this change, and that to talk to your congressman and tell them that you do not want this changed. Because I do think it is just inherently anti-consumer and anti-free speech. I mean, it gives the ability for sites to get squashed and for the internet to not be this open field of everyone has an equal playing field. But like for us, like we just started a website, and if there wasn't net neutrality, then we could start at a disadvantage to something like CNN. You know, like if they paid extra money, our site would like people like it wouldn't get as much traction because it loads slow, or people just wouldn't be allowed. Like the ISP would be like, oh, you want people to be able to get to your site? You got to pay us some money.
You got to pay some
money, you know. Yeah. And so, I mean, you can do your own research on it and come to your own conclusion, but I just think it's like this is really important, because I think the internet, it's vital that it stays free and open, because it is the breadth of new ideas, and you're gonna miss out on new things if this is revoked, because right now you have Facebook, Twitter, like you have the big sites, and if you just gave them fast lanes or the ability to pay extra for security, you would not see competition blossom.
Yeah.
Like, because we've already seen Snapchat kind of came out of nowhere, a couple years ago, right? Because it is free and there's no barrier to entry besides getting a website up and getting an app out, you know?
Yeah.
And so lastly, just is like, a lot of it is like, oh, well, this could happen. Like, they could do this. And that's when we were talking earlier, we wanted to see, well, would this really happen? Or is it kind of just people being scared for no logical reason if there's no proof? But looking into it, there is already many instances of this happening, of them kind of chopping it up or maybe violating what was used to be the net neutrality rules. I mean, there's issues where, like, we were looking through, and then back in, I think, 2011, AT&T, Sprint, and Verizon all blocked like Google Wallet from being used on their service because they had a competing service that they were trying to push. Yeah. So they literally made it so you couldn't use Google Wallet, which is the Google alternative. You also saw instances of Comcast slowing down certain file sharing sites because it competed with theirs. Literally, without disclosing it to the customer, they would slow down the transfers. So, I mean, if someone is using two things...
So it would disincentivize you to use
exactly.
the competitions.
And so that's the problem. And you're also seeing on phone networks, they're saying certain sites and certain streaming things won't count against your data cap.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, for us, like for the consumer, they're labeling them as perks. And it sounds great. Like, oh, if I'm not going to get charged against my data cap because our data caps are so low in America. It's ridiculous. Like, I mean, now they have unlimited, even though it's not unlimited. But it would incentivize you to use certain services. Like Verizon has their new streaming service is not against your data cap, but then you're incentivized to use that and not Netflix and YouTube. And that's just one way to regulate. And that could happen on home internet. And if we're already seeing companies do it now, kind of testing the waters, I have zero faith in the internet service providers. And I have no doubt that if there is a cash grab to be made for them to charge and chop up the internet, if they were able to, they would 100% do it because big companies would pay it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want to see their things drop.
Yeah, no, I know we were talking about this for a while, probably the better part of an hour and a half or so the other day, because I am not really super involved with this issue. It didn't really interest me as much as it does with you. I'm not nearly as passionate about it. And I am very skeptical, as you guys probably know, about, and so is Seth, about government being involved in business and being involved in the economy at all whatsoever. I don't like it, and I don't like regulations placed on businesses and stuff. But like the stuff that you're talking about with being able to create fast lanes and slowing down other sites and giving bandwidth and priority to another company that's able to pay for it, I'm definitely not on board with that at all. I think that everyone uses the internet. It's such a widely used service throughout the United States. Right? You can't really. it's not fair for a few ISPs to be able to pick winners and losers based on whether they pay them money or not.
Yeah.
But I'm also not for certain regulations and taxes that come with it that the FCC is able to place on ISPs. I haven't really looked into that much. I know that that's there, but I don't know if they're being implemented and how much they are. But like I said, I'm not for if in a perfect world, right? I would love to see net neutrality repealed and then a new bill put in place that stops ISPs from being able to create fast lanes, slow down bandwidth, but then also doesn't come with extra regulations and taxes on the ISPs.
Yeah.
Even though it's not like my heart is feeling super bad for Comcast and AT&T because
their margins are insane
all the time with internet.
Yeah.
But just out of principle of it, I would love to see that not happen. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously slowing down other companies, and then the thing that you were talking about with the phone providers allowing you to it not count against your data cap to use other services. I'm torn on that because on the one hand, like I think, oh great, I'm not going to get charged if I use say Netflix or something like that. And then I'm thinking, why is it the government's job to come in and say, oh, you businesses are not allowed to coordinate that deal? But then on the other hand, I don't like the fact that they're incentivizing you to use one service and essentially decentivizing you to use another one. To me, the creating fast lanes and slowing down website speed and increasing other ones is like a huge deal to me. I would pass a bill just for that one. The other one, not so much, but I can definitely see how that can frustrate people.
Yeah.
And how it disincentivizes people to use certain sites versus others.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely look into it because it's taken me a while to kind of look into it. Seth's been on this for a while now.
Well, yeah, I mean it's been challenged multiple times in the past couple of years, and luckily every time we've been able to kind of keep it. And that's the thing is, it needs to be talked about, and a lot of people don't understand what's going on or don't like. Because you'll see like congressmen that have the Republicans, some of them are trying to push this bill through, are saying like they literally have the quotes of them saying, well, there should be fast lanes, and it's like it's not just us being crazy like, oh, this could happen. Like they have talked about that. They should be allowed to do that. Yeah. And I'm just sorry, giving them the ability to stifle speech or straight up, if they just didn't allow certain websites to be broadcast.
They didn't allow bandwidth.
Yeah, I could see that happening. We've already seen the liberal agenda. Like I hate using that word, but take over colleges, and the news network's been so skewed now, and it's like that could easily happen with the internet, where conservative sites. I'm just using that as an example, or just speech against could get slowed down to the point where it's not even like worth going to.
You see that on YouTube. Different videos are demonetized all the time. So what's to stop an ISP from just limiting bandwidth to a site that they don't like?
Yeah, and then what if the ISP gets bought out or has a stake in a political leaning?
Yeah, exactly.
Then you're starting to get anyone that buys Comcast, your conservative sites are running slow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and again, I'm with you with the taxes and stuff, but I think the freedom of speech that the internet allows trumps that. I think.
So if you're saying right now, if it's a binary choice, it's either one or the other, you would obviously rather.
I would put my eggs in the basket in ensuring freedom of speech, freedom of being able to post what you want, freedom of just being able to go where you want, rather than the ability for it to be squashed. Because I think as soon as you open that door. I just don't trust people to not abuse it.
Yeah.
And so just leaving it off the table completely, I think, is the best way to go. And so guys, I mean, if this is something, there's a site you can go or link below where you can go and they have like quick forms you can fill out that'll just send an email with whatever you wrote to your local congressman or whatever to tell them how you feel. There's over 2 million people that sent them on July 12th. Yeah. I think it's great important. I think it's kind of scummy that they're not talking about this more in the media because I think it's super important, and they're kind of just been trying to push this through.
Well, and I think we probably should say they voted a few months ago on net neutrality or something similar to net neutrality.
Yeah.
And all of them voted. I have a feeling that it's definitely going to get repealed.
You think that it will?
I think that it will.
And that's the other part because there's nobody and nothing that benefits from repealing it besides the corporations. Right? They benefit by it being repealed. By net neutrality going away, we don't benefit. We get nothing in return.
Yeah.
They get all the bonus and anything good that happens to it. And so I couldn't imagine people being against it, other than the fact of maybe them just hating anything Obama did, which I think is a big reason this is like the Republicans are trying to push, is they just anything Obama did is bad.
They want to deregulate.
And that's bad because that's party politics. That's not good. It's the issue, not who put forward it.
Agreed.
And so I don't think if you polled people and really gave them an understanding, there would be any question that this would get repealed.
Yeah.
No.
I
just think that it's business in bed with politicians, in bed with parties, and going against the opposite party, rather than them representing the people that voted them into power.
Well said. Yeah, guys. So like we said, check it out. Tell us what you think below. Let us know if you're for or against net neutrality, because it is a discussion and we want to hear what you have to say. But with that being said, guys, we're going to wrap up What Was Nuts this week, and we're going to jump right into the main topic. All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to jump right into the main topic this week, and we're going to be talking about some stuff, overseas stuff that's happening in China.
Not Russia, but China.
Not Russia and China. I think Russia's done similar stuff. But
China,
yeah.
Russia, it's like worse.
It's worse, yeah. But China has started to ban a lot of gay things.
Yeah. So this happened, I think a week or two ago. But essentially, the Chinese government put forward new regulations on what is allowed online. And if you guys don't know, China is just the freest place in the world. No, there's a lot of government control in China. Are they technically communist still?
They're definitely. They have some kind of weird quasi.
They call it the People's Republic.
Yeah, but that's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a quasi-capitalist economic system, but communist government controlled. It's all
right.
Weird.
So in China, there's already huge restrictions and control in the government on the internet. Like certain sites you can't go to.
Yeah.
They control it all. Like they're completely have that crap on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
You're not like if they don't want you, if they deem your site not available to their people, you're just not allowed.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's the control they have. So what they did is they put forward new, I guess, regulations a few weeks ago that bans homosexual behavior online.
Mm-hmm.
Any site, any whatever.
Any TV show, right?
Exactly. What they did is what they considered it abnormal sexual activity, and so what they did is they put it forward as a part of a bigger bill, right? So I don't know if it's a bill in China or is it just
bigger part of legislation.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So they included it with other offensive things that they said were like things that damage the national image, criticizing revolutionary leaders, and portraying the supernatural, such as conjuring spirits. I don't know.
Huh.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So they put this forward, and they also said that companies need to hire 3 professional censors to go back through now and kind of comb through their previous content to make sure it's all up to snuff.
Yeah.
Basically, they don't want to have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people kind of, I think rightly, are kind of up in arms about this, and it's kind of nuts because, I mean, one of the biggest, I guess, a big TV show in China is about 2 homosexual men, and it just, nope, it's gone.
Done.
Yep. And in regards to television, I mean, a couple years back, they had a crackdown I guess not a couple years back, last year, they did a crackdown where they banned all depictions of gay people on television, right? And they said that it was a crackdown on vulgar, immoral, and unhealthy content, which is kind of nuts that in this day and age they're still calling it that, They said that it exaggerates the darker side of society. And they said that no television drama shall show abnormal sexual relationships and behaviors such as incest, same-sex relations, sexual perversion, sexual assault, sexual abuse, sexual violence, basically anything sexual in a negative way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, that also I think is messed up because I think in certain movies there's rape scenes, you know? And it's not, sometimes if it's done, I don't want to say tastefully, is there a tasteful rape scene? But it could be part of the story, you know?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Again, we're against this because we don't want the government telling us what to do. But we wanted to bring this up to kind of see what, like, this is obviously their right. Like, they're allowed to do this. It's China. But what does it mean? And, for instance, a lot of Western movies that we make are doing huge numbers in China.
Yeah.
Like, our box office, like, now we're seeing, they'll maybe bomb here, like Transformers, doesn't do so well in America, just kills over there.
And then 7 movies later, you're like, oh, Transformers 8 is coming out? What is this?
Right?
How?
And so is this, like, since it's becoming such a big market, they obviously want to make movies that cater to that market as well as our market.
Yeah.
Is this going to kind of force companies to maybe pull back on having gay people in Hollywood movies? Because they know it won't get shown in China. You saw Gal Gadot's, because of her, Wonder Woman was banned in some country because of her race, right?
Because she was pro-Israel. And
exactly. Like, that's kind of nuts. And that's a small country. But, like, I think that could be bad. If
I don't think that will stop Hollywood at all from promoting that agenda. Because, I mean, that will not stop Hollywood agenda. I mean, dude, Hollywood doesn't really care about.
They care about money, though.
Yeah, they care about money, but they make enough money off of other movies and stuff like that. Like Moonlight, what was that movie? Moonlight that won all these Oscars and everything. Did like
was that about the African American guy?
Yeah, who was gay. Maybe got like $10 million. I don't think they care so much about that. Obviously, I do have a problem with this though. Not so much as the Hollywood thing. I don't care about Hollywood at all. But I have a huge problem when government decides morality for people, right? So whether you agree with homosexuality or not, it doesn't matter. The principle of the fact that government shouldn't be involved with telling a society what is and what isn't moral, I think, aside from basic laws like you shouldn't kill people or whatever, but I don't think that the government should be legislating laws that say you're not allowed to, you can't do something in the bedroom kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
so
it's not their business
what
you do in the bedroom.
The government should be involved with that. This debate can kind of be moved into, legalizing marijuana or whatever it may be. I don't think that the government should really be involved with dictating morals to a society.
Yeah. They call it vulgar and immoral behavior, which is nuts.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of people hold that opinion.
But it's personal.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that, like I don't know how else to really explain it. If you give the government that much power, what then are they going to say that's vulgar and immoral, right? Like, I mean, China, this isn't surprising at all. China limits the amount of kids that you can have.
I thought they repealed that recently.
They might have gotten rid of it. They
had it. That was a thing.
So it's not surprising to me at all that they would say you can't, no television show or movie can display these kinds of acts. But no, I mean, I think it's a problem, and it's great. It was surprising to me that a TV show in China that had 2 homosexual people was so big.
It had millions of people, apparently.
Obviously, I mean, people from China are watching the show, and my whole thing is if consumers are consuming a product, who is the government to come in and say, no, you cannot consume that product?
That's the weird thing, too, is you think they would... What's the benefit of banning it,
Yeah,
are they trying to cleanse their society from this?
And see, that also didn't strike me. Like, I know Russia does this, but they do it with some kind of religious connotation behind it. Jail, yeah, exactly. You get thrown off a rooftop. But like in China, they didn't really strike me that much of like a super zealous or say religious country that is banning it for those reasons. So it'd be interesting to really look into like what their reasoning is behind doing these kinds of actions. But it actually is becoming increasingly popular among, you see China. I mean, China's it's the biggest country in the entire world population wise.
Yep.
Second close to India. But you have China who does this. You have Russia who does this. All throughout the Middle East, there's tons of countries who have this kind of stuff banned.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, it begs the question. You have tons of people in the United States.
That's what I don't understand.
Saying like, the United States oppresses people and all this kind of stuff. No, they don't. I'm sorry. You go to the Middle East, you go to Russia, you go to China, they oppress homosexual people.
Like, why? This should have been, for all the hate that we get, Americans get, white people get, of like oppressing women or, being like the Republicans are homophobic. Like, this is a bigger deal.
Totally.
I think. Like, this is billions, like, so here, say, half a Republican, maybe a little bit less than half, and then maybe half of them hold that idea, maybe. But you're saying, like, this little part of 300 million is trying to stop them or whatever. This is billions of people.
Yeah.
Billions. Oh, a little bit over a billion, right?
Yeah, like 1.3 billion people.
Billions of people that are they're not allowed to see homosexual content on the internet.
Yeah.
And it's not even homosexual content in, like, porn. Like, porn is already banned in China. So it's not even like they don't want people to see gay sex. They don't want it at all.
Like the notion of...
any kind of homosexual, like, I'm assuming it would be as much as, like, just... Like, you always see, the gay couple and the token gay couple in the TV series.
Well, every show now has to have
exactly.
one,
Like,
right?
that is just not allowed. And it's just like, I don't understand why people aren't up in arms here. And not that you could do much. It's China. What are you going to do? They'd be like, well, who cares? But it's like that's oppression. Mm-hmm. That is messed up. That's something you should be fighting for, to be like, why are you doing this? And like, we're looking into it. Like, gay marriage is not a thing there.
No, it's not legalized.
There's some weird
Civil
stuff in Hong Kong
that
it sounded like, but Hong Kong's also not a part of China, but it is a part of China. I don't understand.
Kind of
but like that, like they won't even let people adopt Chinese children unless they're heterosexual.
Uh-huh.
That's weird to me. Like even if you wanted to adopt someone and you were gay and you wanted to adopt a Chinese baby, they'd be like, no.
Yeah.
Which is also weird to me. But like, I think it's like you said too. In America, it's easy to kind of, it's freedom for all. We've kind of even the playing field now, but it's like people are still like, I couldn't imagine being in, I don't know. It's just bizarre to me. And it's weird too that it's,
well, it opens the door for other stuff, right? And so that's my argument. Like, even if you're a person who is against same-sex marriage or homosexuality or whatever, you think it's wrong or immoral, that's fine. But my argument is, why would you give the government the power to decide whether
I don't think they gave
they
gave the Chinese government power.
Well, the Chinese government took it, right?
Yeah,
so I'm speaking to Americans now. You wouldn't want the government to have that power, right? Yeah. That's why it's bad, because then they might say, hey, the religion that you practice is bad.
They're Buddhist, right? That's big over there.
The government could easily come in and say, this is immoral, you can't practice this religion because of X, because of whatever. And that's, of course, the fear of allowing government to decide morality. Like we said, obviously there's laws like murder and stuff like that are on the books that you can't do. But in the sense of just kind of like personal decisions, who you're sleeping with, who you're not, I don't freaking care. It's fine. You know, I don't introduce myself as, hey, I'm Jared, I'm straight. You know what I mean? It's just, hey, I'm Jared.
Start to do that.
So just
start to do that.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just keep it out. It's not that big of a deal. Who cares? If you are what you are, go for it. I don't care. If you're not affecting me, it's fine. And I don't think the government should come in and say that you can't do something. If it's consensual between you and another person that makes you happy, then whatever.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. And
I agree.
It's pretty alarming that so many countries actually now have taken this stance.
Well, it's nuts to me. I could understand if this, like, it feels like the right version is that they have had this for years, and then like they're just starting to maybe take it away, because like that would make sense. Like they're kind of progressing, but no, like they just implemented this this year.
Yeah.
So
Russia's cracked down on it recently.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, do they think they're gonna catch something? Like, do they think it's gonna reduce homosexuality to not, we don't see it. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's bizarre to me, and it sucks for them. I think, especially for movies and art, they can't, like, there's compelling stories to be told about homosexual people. Like, there's good stories there. I don't really know any off the top of my head, but there definitely isn't. There shouldn't be restrictions on what people can do for artistic sake.
And there's the possibility for it. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I don't really think that art should be limited, as long as it's not, perpetrating violence, unlike some people
and, like,
cutting
this would
people's
be
heads
like,
off.
if do you know how they have isn't Grindr for gay guys, I think? Like, that wouldn't be allowed. Like, if there was like a social network for gay people trying to help find other people, that wouldn't be.
More about this Grindr, Seth. What is that?
I think it's like Tinder. I don't know.
That sounds like.
But it's like anything at all
wouldn't fly over there.
Yeah.
No, I think it's interesting and kind of pushing it into kind of like. Into like the American topic of it, I think that people take for granted the freedoms that we have here so much.
Yes.
Because you look at other countries around the world, and is America perfect? Absolutely not. But I mean,
yeah.
You want to live in China? Do you want to live in Russia? Do you want to live in the Middle East? Even if you go into other countries, in Europe or anything like that, no country is perfect. They all have their problems. But I mean, maximum liberty and personal freedom is kind of the goal and the go-to, what you want to aim for.
Yeah.
And I think that America has that the most, especially in response to, how progressive certain movements are, like the feminist movement and the LGBTQ. The IA blah 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 movement is everything like that.
Dude, you just triggered a lot of people.
Not
in China though. They don't exist.
Not in
anymore.
China. Yeah, they're not there because they banned.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's like we've seen. When you're saying like America's the best, people like you guys are just arrogant maybe or ignorant maybe. And it's like, well, China, we have this. I mean, Russia, you're not gonna push for Russia. The UK, you can't take your kid to try to get health care. We've seen, not to be mean to my Canadian viewers, but in Canada, you can have your child taken away from you if you don't adhere to their pronouns.
Yeah.
That's
Sounds
a law.
Sounds free.
That's insane. And it's like, so you're protesting here and you're mad because someone didn't bake you a cake. Yeah, and it's like, this is worth your time.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not to trivialize it because, yeah, we obviously still have issues. And that doesn't mean that we should just not worry about them at all. But it's like, let's keep a perspective.
Exactly.
Let's not call us this horrible. Like, I don't know.
And I don't think there are really many social issues like on an equal playing field that America really has today. I think
the only thing I can think of is the bathroom debate right now, the transgender bathroom debate. But that is just, honestly, we haven't talked about it much because I don't think there's a winning argument. I don't think there's anything there that's going to make that I think is, why couldn't we just not mention it, you know? Like, just let them wherever, who cares, you know? I don't know. That's the only one I can think of. That would be maybe a social issue that these social justice warriors can talk about. I don't freaking know.
Everything else just sounds so inflated, though.
Yeah.
Like unmeaningful, like all of the parades and the marches and stuff, dude. Like, it drives me crazy. And one last thing before we get into it, we talked about how they totally banned gay stuff in media in China and everything like that. But
internet, dude.
Yeah, but over here, it's like you have something like that in every TV show or like every movie. Almost, there's always like some kind of reference in there, and it's like that's fine and everything, but that's why we were talking about Hollywood a second ago. Like, do you think they're going to stop doing that? I don't think they're going to stop doing that. China's a huge market, obviously.
I think there's the potential for that to come up. And, like, maybe we shouldn't have this character. Like, for instance, what was the movie that just came out that had the gay character, but what was that? Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was up in arms over that. At the very end, he was dancing with a guy. Like, I saw the movie, and honestly, like, he was just as flamboyant as the animated movie. It was ridiculous. But, like, maybe they would have rethought that if that was I don't know if it was a big sell in China, but that might have been enough for China to be like, no.
We're not going to let in.
Exactly. And so it's like, I think you're going to see, and I think that's bad because then China's laws are affecting us, you know? They're going to affect what we think we can do and not because they need the money from China. I mean, I'm not saying they need the money from China, but a lot of big blockbusters, I mean, you need massive.
That's interesting.
Growth.
Do you think that Hollywood would actually change their? It'll be interesting to see.
I think so because you were talking about with what was the movie you were talking about? The Moonlight. That was an indie movie. It wasn't Hollywood. So that was independent people doing it. I'm pretty sure it was independent, and it wasn't.
But Hollywood celebrated it like nonstop.
Well, yeah, because as soon as you have a good indie movie, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, we were totally behind this." It's like you didn't care.
Except it wasn't really even a good movie.
I didn't watch it. You watched it? It won a lot of awards.
Made hardly any money though. Like.
Well, it had a low budget, I'm assuming. That's one of those movies where they didn't spend a lot to make it, so any money they made was basically profit.
Yeah.
Like, because the indie movies...
But the fact that it won so many awards, I guess, when hardly any people saw it comparatively, I feel like they were definitely promoting that movie.
Probably.
I can't see Hollywood stop promoting their agenda
that they
have over this. We'll see. Obviously, money is the language that they speak. But, I don't know. It'll be interesting.
This is something that people should be fighting for. You know, this is what you should be... Like,
yeah, if you want to do marches and stuff like that, fine, do marches. And
try to go march in China and let me know how that goes.
Exactly.
Not this. I mean, we're really oppressive here, but I think you're going to be in a whole new world of oppression if you go over there.
All right, guys. Well, like we said, let us know what you think about this topic. Is it a problem? Where do you stand on this? Let us know in the comments below.
If you disagree with us, we will ban you.
You're not allowed to watch anymore. All right, guys, we are back in the final segment of this week's podcast. Of course, it is the What Triggered Us this week. This is where we replace all logical and rational thinking and only talk about our emotions and feelings. So, Seth, what had you triggered this week, man?
Actually, a TV show, internet show episode that would have been banned in China, probably.
Yes.
No, so...
I'd be okay with it. No,
I don't know. Did we talk about Bill Nye Saves the World?
I don't think so, because there's so much insanity
I think it came to when between we had a long break because something was going on. I don't know. Bill Nye Saves the World was a Netflix show that came out, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And then Bill Nye the Science Guy, I mean, everyone kind of knows that Bill Nye is freaking awesome. He was growing up anyway. He's kind of off the deep end right now.
No.
But anyway, this kind of came back in the news because it got an Emmy nomination. And... Yeah. I mean, an Emmy nomination. I don't know, whatever. Like, I don't watch movies that get Oscars because they get Oscars. I don't watch TV shows that get Emmys. But it got it for exceptional writing, and it was for specifically an episode called "The Sexual Spectrum."
Yeah.
And in this episode, so I hadn't seen it, and I didn't feel right doing this, so I freaking sat down and had to get through 21 minutes of just horribleness.
Surprised you didn't gouge your eyes
we did talk about the singer, didn't we?
Yeah, Rachel.
Yeah,
Rachel
we did
Green,
talk
Rachel,
about this.
Rachel Black.
This
I
song,
think.
yeah.
Cause my sex junk is so much more than either.
And so I went through and I watched the whole episode, and I am sorry, dude, but forgetting the idea of whatever, like, if you believe in multiple genders, gender identity, gender expression, sex, whatever, like, you know, like how they're all separate now and you can be any combination of them. Like, Bill Nye the Science Guy was always prided for kind of breaking down scientific things in a way that made sense and using science. You know, Bill Nye the Science Guy.
It's kind of implied.
So it's kind of it makes sense now that Bill Nye Saves the World doesn't have the science guy in it, because there was like zero science in this episode.
There's absolutely no science.
It's insane. I would highly, if you want to laugh, watch the episode. They're just So essentially, it boils down to it was not written, I don't think, well. I watched a YouTube video later that day by Lacey Green, kind of going through the gender stuff. It was 6 minutes. Mm-hmm. Way better explanation than anything on the Bill Nye thing. I mean, the Bill Nye thing, you had him saying stuff like this.
Smoking hot abacus of sex. You want to hear Bill Nye talk about sexual intercourse? About doing it.
And it was just like, it was odd to see this guy that I watched you talking about this, like this, just, I don't know, like, talking about sex, and this is the sex cane.
Well, the thing that bothered me is, sorry to cut you off, but the thing that bothered me is he had these kind of, like, if you watch the episode, you'll see, but kind of these holographs of humans, right? And it had the XY chromosomes and everything, and he's talking about science. He's claiming that it's science.
That was one science point, yeah.
Yeah, but it was totally wrong, because he's talking about how, like, and people have a mixture of different XY chromosomes, and then it gets complicated, and then the gender's on a spectrum, and that way it's just science. And I'm like, no,
give me graphs, give me data to tell me. And the idea that people, like, so I looked it up, people that are not born with an XX or an XY that have some kind of weird combination, it's 1 in 1666.
Yes.
Right? So then I did that divided by our American population. I did 350 million. I think we're a little bit higher now. But anyway, it's about 200,000. Right? Yeah. So you're telling me that's normal?
Yeah.
For 1 in 1600ths of a population? That's not normal.
Point of a
That's
percent.
not to say it's not valid and it's not something we should know about, but he's teaching like, well, you know, I mean, you could definitely have a kid that doesn't have this, so we need to.
Well, and you can tell with those people because they're born with 2 genitalia, right? Like there's
I don't know exactly
there's a problem that happens there. That's
Yeah.
If we're talking about intersex, how rare that is, that's what happens there. You can tell if someone's not born that way, and then that's the biological sex that they have. But of course, the whole argument is we're not talking about sex, we're talking about gender. Is that what it is? I can't even keep up with this whole movement.
Exactly. It's really confusing. But anyway, the Emmy nomination screams of the agenda pushing we were just talking about in Hollywood. And that, he did a show and he's talking about this and we're trying to push this right now. So we need to acknowledge that. And it's like, why can't it be for real writing? Because honestly, it's just not written well, man. Like, even
there's so many TV shows that could have gotten that nomination. There are good TV shows out there that are written well.
Yes.
And it's such a disservice to those to award this.
In addition to this is the same thing where in a previous Bill Nye the Science Guy episode, they talked about that. And there's an XX and an XY. You're a boy or a girl. Those are the options. And that was in his show. He talked about it in his old previous show that he had back in the 90s. And now that's on Netflix as well. That part of that episode cut out in there.
Because he specifically says that there's 2 options.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And now that's not the case. And it's like, okay, did science change that? Maybe. Show me where science changed it, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't show me this giant plaything and a stupid song and make it look holograms. And he does have a cool set, though. He has a really, really, really cool set on that show.
Well, I'm sure.
But anyway, it's ridiculous. And I'm sure I sound like a snowflake, but I'm just like, I'm so tired.
This is our time to be snowflakes.
Yeah, I'm triggered.
This is our section.
Yes, this is our section.
Nice, well done. Speaking of triggered, mine is about. Ooh, this is crazy to me because what you mentioned, you said, "Hey man, did you hear about this story?" And I was like, "Yeah, I put it in my triggered." But so this is a feminist blogger, right? Her name is Jody.
God, those combinations of words, just feminist blogger. I'm like, all right, I'm out.
Gosh, Jody Allard, I guess is her name. She wrote an article in Roll Reboot. So that sounds like a great place. But apparently she's shaming her sons, her 2 sons, and she's done this a couple different times. Apparently one of her sons has claimed that he's like suicidal or something like that. And she's even mentioned that they do not have good relationships because of certain articles that she's written. But anyway, she started off one article and she was talking about rape culture in the United States, right?
Rape.
Right, huge problem apparently. And she ends the article talking about her sons, and she ends it by saying, quote, her sons are, quote, like every other man, not safe. Right? So that's really nice of her. And then later on, or earlier in the article, she was talking about how her sons are good boys, but they're not safe boys, right? Implying that her sons are good and everything like that, but maybe they could just go out and rape someone because they're men, right? And who knows what men are going to do. But so she was in an interview, and she was talking about some of the backlash that she'd gotten for the article, and she said this. It's a little long, but I want to read it because it's just astounding. She said, quote, "One of my sons was hurt by my words, although he's never told me so. He doesn't understand why I lumped him and his brother together in my essay. He sees himself as the, quote, good one, and the other, and the one who is sensitive and thoughtful, and who listens instead of reacts." Sounds like a good guy, right? Yeah. He doesn't understand that even quiet misogyny is misogyny, and that not all sexists sound like Twitter trolls. He's angry at me now, although he won't admit it, and his anger has led him to conservative websites and YouTube channels, places where he can surround himself with righteous indignation against feminists and tell himself it's ungrateful women like me who are the problem.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. You are the problem, all right? This is insane.
Dude, if you can say your sons are good boys and be like, I raised them great, but you know,
they
could
be
go
rapists.
rape.
You never know.
This is again of the absolute insanity that has been caused because things have been blown out of proportion. We do not have a rape culture. Rape is not this thing that every guy in college does to a drunk girl at a bar.
It's not?
No, and it's crazy because what is it? Let me find it real quick. But this things are nuts where it's like 1 out of 4 is a guy
that are raped.
The men are raped. So that's the other thing. Men can be raped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Interesting.
There's the whole claim, right, that 1 out of 4 women on college campuses are raped.
Not true.
Yeah, not true at all.
Factually inaccurate.
Because it's so misleading because they lump it in with like some kind of sexual aggression and they claim that anything like that is just like advancements by a guy, right? Yeah. And there's the whole thing where you have to like sign off on everything you're doing
or withdrawing consent after.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have sex with someone and then you say later you were raped because you're disappointed with the decision you make.
Yeah.
It's just it's totally insane, man. And I think that we can just agree that feminism is cancer.
Yeah, and I love I saw it because of Ben Shapiro, and he was saying he offered the dude a job. He's like, "Oh, this kid sounds like a great person. I will get your job. You need to get out of that house." And honestly, that's like if you can just talk about your sons and be like, "They're great, but you know, they're not safe." And I would be nervous for women to be around my kids because they've ever done anything that you said that would make you believe they would rape, but just because they are men.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh.
No joke that one of her kids is suicidal, man. I would be too if that was my mom.
Yeah.
Probably would have already off myself.
Yeah, just not. I can't find out the men, but we'll put it down. But it's very high about the amount of men that are actually raped, and no one talks about it because I mean. For one, it goes reported even less because, as a man, do you want to say that you were raped by a woman? You know,
probably not.
I wouldn't. Yeah,
maybe a little bit.
Yeah,
not funny though. All right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap up this week's Peanut Gallery podcast. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be sure and check us out on iTunes, Google Play, anywhere where podcasts are. You can find us there. Leave us a review. That really helps us out. Until next week, guys. Always remember, stay informed.